Fribourg-en-Brisgau is a city in Baden-Württemberg, Germany with a population of about 230,000 people. In the southwest of the country, it straddles the Dreisam River, at the foot of the Schlossberg. Historically, the city has acted as the hub of the Breisgau region on the western edge of the Black Forest in the Upper Rhine Plain. One of the famous old German university towns, and archiepiscopal seat, Freiburg was incorporated in the early 12th century and developed into a major commercial, intellectual, and ecclesiastical center of the Upper Rhine region. The city is known for its medieval minster and Renaissance university, as well as for its high standard of living and advanced environmental practices. The city is situated in the heart of a major wine-growing region and serves as the primary tourist entry point to the scenic beauty of the Black Forest. According to meteorological statistics, the city is the sunniest and warmest in Germany and holds the all-time German temperature record of 40.2 degrees Celsius. History. Freiburg was founded by Conrad and Duke Berthold III of Saar-Currency-Hringen in 1120 as a free market town. Hence its name, which translates to free town. Frei means free, and Berg, like the modern English word borough, was used in those days for an incorporated city or town, usually one with some degree of autonomy. The German word Burg also means a fortified town, as in Hamburg. Thus, it is likely that the name of this place means a fortified town of free citizens. This town was strategically located at a junction of trade routes between the Mediterranean Sea and the North Sea regions, and the Rhine and Danube rivers. In 1200, Freiburg's population numbered approximately 6,000 people. At about that time, under the rule of Berthold V, the last Duke of Saar-Currency-Hringen, the city began construction of its Freiburg ⅁ cathedral on the site of an older parish church. Begun in the Romanesque style, it was continued and completed 1513 for the most part as a Gothic edifice. In 1218, when Berthold V died, the Counts of Urach assumed the title of Freiburg's Count. The city council did not trust the new nobles and wrote down its established rights in a document. At the end of the 13th century there was a feud between the citizens of Freiburg and their lord, Count Eugenio II of Freiburg. Eugenio raised taxes and sought to limit the citizens' freedom, after which the Freiburgers used catapults to destroy the count's castle atop the Schlossberg, a hill that overlooks the city centre. The furious count called on his brother-in-law the Bishop of Strasbourg, Conradius von Lichtenberg, for help. The bishop responded by marching with his army to Freiburg. According to an old Freiburg legend, a butcher named Horry stabbed the Bishop of Strasbourg to death on July 29, 1299. It was a Pyrrhic victory, since henceforth the citizens of Freiburg had to pay an annual expiation of 300 marks in silver to the Count of Freiburg until 1368. In 1366 the Counts of Freiburg made another failed attempt to occupy the city during a night raid. Eventually the citizens were fed up with their lords, and in 1368 Freiburg purchased its independence from them. The city turned itself over to the protection of the Habsburgs, who allowed the city to retain a large measure of freedom. Most of the nobles of the city died in the Battle of Simch. The patrician family Schnellin took control of the city until the guildsmen revolted. The guilds became more powerful than the patricians by 1389. The silver mines in Mount Schorensland provided an important source of capital for Freiburg. This silver made Freiburg one of the richest cities in Europe, and in 1327 Freiburg minted its own coin, the Rappenpfennig. In 1377 the cities of Freiburg, Basel, Como, and Breisach entered into an alliance known as the Genossenschaft des Rappenpfennigs. This alliance facilitated commerce among the cities and lasted until the end of the 16th century. There were 8,000 to 9,000 people living in Freiburg between the 13th and 14th centuries, and 30 churches and monasteries. At the end of the 14th century the veins of silver were dwindling, and by 1460 only approximately 6,000 people still lived within Freiburg's city walls. A university city, Freiburg evolved from its focus on mining to become a cultural center for the arts and sciences. It was also a commercial center. The end of the Middle Ages and the dawn of the Renaissance was a time of both advances and tragedy for Freiburg. In 1457, Albrecht VI, regent of Further Austria, established Albert Ludwig's Universität, one of Germany's oldest universities. In 1498, Emperor Maximilian I held a Reichstag in Freiburg. In 1520, the city ratified a set of legal reforms, widely considered the most progressive of the time. The aim was to find a balance between city traditions and old Roman law. The reforms were well received, especially the sections dealing with civil process law, punishment, and the city's constitution. In 1520, Freiburg decided not to take part in the Reformation and became an important centre for Catholicism on the Upper Rhine. In 1536, a strong and persistent belief in witchcraft led to the city's first witch hunt. The need to find a scapegoat for calamities such as the Black Plague, which claimed 2,000 area residents in 1564, led to an escalation in witch hunting that reached its peak in 1599. A plaque on the Old City Wall marks the spot where burnings were carried out. The 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries were turbulent times for Freiburg. At the beginning of the 30 Years' War there were 10,000 to 14,000 citizens in Freiburg. By its end only 2,000 remained. During this war and other conflicts, at various times the city belonged to the Austrians, the French, the Swedish, the Spanish, and various members of the German Confederacy. Between 1648 and 1805, it was the administrative headquarters of Further Austria, the Habsburg territories in the southwest of Germany, when the city was not under French occupation. In 1805, the city, together with the Breisgau and Ortenau areas, became part of Baden. In 1827, when the Archdiocese of Freiburg was founded, Freiburg became the seat of a Catholic archbishop. On October 22, 1940, the Nazi Gauleiter of Baden ordered the deportation of all of Baden's Jews, and 350 Jewish citizens of Freiburg were deported to the southern French internment camp of Camp Gauze in the bases Pira copyright na copyrightes. They remained there under poor conditions until July 18, 1942, when the majority of the survivors were sent to their deaths at Auschwitz. The cemetery for German Jews who died at Camp Gauze is maintained by the town of Freiburg and other cities of Baden. A memorial stands outside the modern synagogue in the town centre. The pavements of Freiburg carry memorials to individual victims in the form of brass plates outside their former residences, including that of Edith Stein, a German Jewish philosopher who converted to Catholicism, became a nun, and was canonized as Saint Teresa Benedicta of the Cross in 1998. Freiburg was heavily bombed during World War II. First, in May 1940, aircraft of the Luftwaffe mistakenly dropped approximately 60 bombs on Freiburg near the train station, killing 57 people. Later on, a raid by more than 300 bombers of the RAF Bomber Command on November 27, 1944 destroyed a large portion of the city centre, with the notable exception of the Ma 1/4 NSTER, which was only lightly damaged. After the war, the city was rebuilt on its medieval plan. It was occupied by the French army in 1945, and Freiburg was soon allotted to the French zone of occupation. In December 1945 Freiburg became the seat of government for the German state Badenia, which was merged into Baden-Württemberg in 1952. The French army maintained a presence in Freiburg until 1991, when the last French army division left the city, and left Germany. On the site of the former French army base, a new neighborhood for 5,000 people, Vauban, was begun in the late 1990s as a sustainable model district. Solar power is used to power many of the households in this small community. Culture: because of its scenic beauty, relatively warm and sunny climate, and easy access to the Black Forest, Freiburg is a hub for regional tourism. The longest cable car run in Germany, which is 3.6 kilometers long, runs from Garwunkorten to Still up to a nearby mountain called Schorensland. The city has an unusual system of gutters that run throughout its center. These bar currents CHLE, once used to provide water to fight fires and feed livestock, are constantly flowing with water diverted from the Dreisam. They were never intended to be used for sewage, and even in the Middle Ages such use could lead to harsh penalties. During the summer, the running water provides natural cooling of the air, and offers a pleasant gurgling sound. It is said that if one accidentally falls or steps into a bar currency ckle, they will marry a Freiburger, or bubble. The Augustinerplatz is one of the central squares in the Old City. Formerly the location of an Augustinian monastery that became the Augustiner Museum in 1921, it is now a popular social space for Freiburg's younger residents. It has a number of restaurants and bars, including the local brewery ๊fʁaɪ, which has a beer garden. On warm summer nights, hundreds of students gather here. At the center of the Old City is the Marwankortensterplatz or Cathedral Square. Freiburg's largest square of farmers' market is held here every day except Sundays. This is the site of Freiburg's Marwankortenster, a Gothic minster cathedral constructed of red sandstone, built between 1200 and 1530 and noted for its towering spire. The Historisches Kaufhaus, or Historical Merchants' Hall, is a late Gothic building on the south side of Freiburg's Marwankortensterplatz. Built between 1520 and 1530, it was once the center of the financial life of the region. Its four-sectionade is decorated with statues and the coat of arms of four Habsburg emperors. The Ortsrathaus, or Old City Hall, was completed in 1559 and has a painted four-sectionade. The Platz der Alten Synagoge Old Synagogue Square is one of the more important squares on the outskirts of the historic Old City. The square was the location of a synagogue until it was destroyed on Kristallnacht in 1938. Zum Rottenbach Currency Renn, the oldest hotel in Germany, is located along Oberlinden near the Swabian Gate. To the east of the city centre, the Schlossberg Hill provides extensive views over the city and surrounding region. The castle from which the hill takes its name was demolished in the 1740s, and only ruins remain. Schlossberg retained its importance to the city, however, and 150 years ago the city leaders opened up walks and views to make the mountain available to the public. Today, the Schlossberg-Bahn funicular railway connects the city centre to the hill. Other museums in the city include the Archaeological Paragraph SSLE Museum. Badische Zeitung is the main local daily paper, covering the Black Forest region. In 2010, Freiburg was voted as the Academy of Urbanism's European City of the Year in recognition of the exemplary sustainable urbanism it has implemented over the past several decades. Geography: Freiburg is bordered by the Black Forest Mountains Rosskopf and Bromberg to the east, {Nberg} and Tuniberg to the south, with the Kaiserstuhltal region to the west. Climate: {PPEN} climate classification classifies its climate as oceanic. Government: Freiburg is known as an eco-city. It has attracted the Bundesamt für Strahlenschutzes, solar industries, and research. The Greens have a stronghold there. The newly built neighborhoods of Vauban and Rieselfeld were developed and built according to the idea of sustainability. The citizens of Freiburg are known in Germany for their love of cycling and recycling. The Oberbauernquartiermeister, Dieter Salomon, was the first member of Bauernquartier-NDNIS 90/Die Grauernquartier to hold such an office in a city with more than 100,000 inhabitants. In June 1995, the Freiburg City Council adopted a resolution that it would permit construction only of low-energy buildings on municipal land, and all new buildings must comply with certain low-energy specifications. Low-energy housing uses solar power passively as well as actively. In addition to solar panels and collectors on the roof, providing electricity and hot water, many passive features use the SUNA unregistered trademark S-Energy to regulate the temperature of the rooms. Freiburg is host to a number of international organizations, in particular, ICLEI, Local Governments for Sustainability, ISES, International Solar Energy Society, and the City Mayor's Foundation. The composition of Freiburg City Council is as follows: Education. Freiburg is a center of academia and research with numerous intellectual figures and Nobel laureates having lived, worked, and taught there. The city houses one of the oldest and most renowned of German universities, the Albert Ludwig University of Freiburg, as well as its medical center. Home to some of the greatest minds of the West, including such eminent figures as Johann Eck, Max Weber, Edmund Husserl, Martin Heidegger, and Friedrich Hayek. It is one of Europe's top research and teaching institutions. Freiburg also plays host to various other educational and research institutes, such as the Freiburg University of Education, the Protestant University for Applied Sciences Freiburg, Freiburg Music Academy, the Catholic University of Applied Sciences Freiburg, the International University of Cooperative Education IUCE, 3 Max Planck Institutes, and 5 Fraunhofer Institutes. The city is home to the IES Abroad European Union program, which allows students to study the development and activities of the EU. Transport. Freiburg has an extensive pedestrian zone in the city centre where no motor cars are allowed. Freiburg also has an excellent public transport system, operated by the city-owned VAG Freiburg. The backbone of the system is the Freiburg tramway network, supplemented by feeder buses. Freiburg is on the main Frankfurt am Main, Basel railway line, with frequent and fast long-distance passenger services from the Freiburg Hauptbahnhof to major German and other European cities. Other railway lines run east in the Black Forest and west to Breisach. The line to Breisach is the remaining stub of the Freiburg-Eurocoma International Railway, severed in 1945 when the railway bridge over the Rhine at Breisach was destroyed, and was never replaced. The city also is served by the A5 Frankfurt am Main, Basel motorway. Freiburg is served by Euro Airport Basel-Mulhouse Freiburg in France, close to the borders of both Germany and Switzerland, 70 km south of Freiburg. Karlsruhe Baden-Baden Airport is approximately 100 km north of Freiburg and is also served by several airlines. Other nearby airports include Stuttgart, Munich, and Frankfurt-Hahn. Car share websites such as Mietwagenheit are commonly used among Freiburg residents since it is considered relatively safe. Sports. Freiburg is home to football team SC Freiburg, which plays at the Dreisam Stadion. In the 2014 Euro 2015 season, the team will compete in the Bundesliga. Freiburg also has the EHC Freiburg ice hockey team, which plays at the Franz-Sigel-Halle, and the RC Freiburg rugby union team, which competes in the Regionalliga Baden-Württemberg. International relations. Twin towns, sister cities. Freiburg is twinned with Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad's controversial comments, which included questioning the dimension of the Holocaust, have sparked discussions concerning Freiburg's relationship with Isfahan. Immediately following the comments, Freiburg's Mayor Salomon postponed a trip to Isfahan, but most people involved, especially those in the Alliance 90/the Greens Party, were opposed to cancelling the relationship. Symbols. The city's coat of arms is argent across gules, the St. George's Cross. St. George is the city's patron saint. The cross also appears on the city's flag, which dates from about 1368, and is identical to that of England, which has the same patron. The city also has a seal that can be seen in a few places in the inner city. It is a stylized depiction of the four-section aid of the Wassersler paragraph SSLE, a castle-like waterworks facility built into a hill that overlooks the residential district of ʻfʁaɪ. The seal depicts a three-towered red castle on a white background, with green-clad trumpeters atop the two outer towers. Beneath the castle is a gold fleur-de-lis. Points of interest: Arboretum Freiburg Gartentistel, an arboretum in the suburb of Gartentistel, Freiburg Botanic Garden, University of Freiburg, Haus Umweltfisch, which, in Dario Argento's 1977 horror film Suspiria, served as the Dance Academy, a film's central location, Augustiner Museum, notable residence. Gallery. References. Further reading: Car Currency Fleen, Acham. Huber, Alexander. Car Currency Fleen, Annette, ed. Freiburg. Freund, Bethan. Freiburg, Edition Kaufländer. ISBN A978-3-940788-01-6. OCLCA 301982091. The Freiburg Charter for Sustainable Urbanism, a collaboration between the City of Freiburg and the Academy of Urbanism, External links